This is Tom Brackey, and today I'm talking about how to stop eating sugar for 30 days, my top 15 foods, what happens to your brain, what happens to your body, and why it's important to wean yourself off sugar. We're starting now. Sugar foods in America and across the world are crazy now. It's cheaper than ever to make it. We get more calories than ever. Before, in the 1950s, we used to average like 2,500 calories per day. Now we average like over 3,500 calories in the United States. Obesity rates are hovering around 50% for adults. Kids are shooting sky high, and that's before COVID. After COVID, it's gone up even more. We are falling apart. Get the obesity rates around the world. It's not just North America and the United States, which is a myth. Europe's actually a little bit higher. South America's getting up there. The world overall, Asia, Oceania, and even Africa is getting up there. So everyone is getting more and more obese. So look at these statistics. Since just 2000, it's gone up from 30% to 42.4%. And even the severe obesity rate has doubled. So it's going up. And what about COVID? When COVID started, the rates shot up even more rapidly. So this problem is already horrible and it's only getting worse. People are getting higher rates of diabetes. Everything I'm going to talk about here is more relevant than ever. To me, these rates are crazy. Pakistan, Egypt, Qatar, Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, the Middle East, Mexico, extremely high diabetes rate. The US is actually number 55 in terms of population. Right around there is China. And believe it or not, China actually has the most overall diabetics in the world now. And after COVID, the pre-diabetes rate is rising. So China and India make up the vast majority of diabetics worldwide. And it's increasing rapidly. A lot of these health decisions are making us less healthy. Our health timeline is decreasing. It's actually getting worse. This is crazy that we're getting less healthy with improving technology. There's obviously a lot going on in America, but with all of our healthcare advances, our medications, our drugs, big pharma, our diets, the healthcare system actually has stagnated. It's lower than any comparable country, and we're actually starting to move backwards now. So we're getting less healthy, we're getting more obese, and now they're pumping out more drugs to take care of our obesity. Do you guys think this is going to work? Or can we simply start doing what already more successful countries are doing on less of a budget? In the past, we used to eat sucrose, which could be used in your blood immediately, but then high fructose corn syrup, or HFCS, was introduced because corn was subsidized. The problem is corn is made up of fructose, and fructose has to be turned to fat and to sugar storage. It can't be utilized directly in our blood. So the problem with fructose is it has to be turned to fat or to storage. So we keep it in our midsection and we grow tummies and get less healthy and develop diabetes. But it's not just that. The average daily capita calories in the United States has mostly been made from flour and cereal products, added sugars, fats. You could see the calories the average American gets from vegetables, from fruit, from dairy, and from meats, eggs, and nuts are not what's going up. And you can see we didn't really have high rates of diabetes or heart attacks 100 years ago, but now we have astronomical values. When looking at this graph and our diabetes graph, how can anyone possibly blame fruits, vegetables, dairy, meats, eggs, or nuts? 100 years ago, these were pretty consistent. The only thing that's really changed is the added sugars, the flour, the processed diet, which is now economical and profitable to eat. From a business standpoint, sugar is amazing. It's high calorie. No one's starving anymore. Sugar is dirt cheap. Sugar, honey, agave, high fructose corn syrup, rice syrup. These are polysaccharides that break down quickly and instantly become sugar in your bloodstream. Fructose has to be broken down through a more complex pathway than glucose alone, and it can't be utilized directly in the bloodstream. A lot of that sugar is now converted to triglycerides, which deposits in the liver, leading to fatty liver disease. You develop visceral fat in your abdomen as well. This is one of the main reasons people get that unhealthy, stubborn fat that they can't get rid of. Our bodies can't handle those simple sugars. They can't adapt. We put on weight. We develop diabetes. Diabetes is also going sky high. It is possible to reverse the majority of diabetes. Now, type 1 diabetes, I'm not going to address. That's a different problem than type 2, but almost everybody, about 90% of people or more, are type 2 diabetics. That's due to weight gain. Reversing diabetes is possible. The direct trial, the Diabetes Remission Clinical Trial, looked at almost 300 people at the University of Glasgow, and 46 total patients who were able to lose weight found that they put their diabetes into remission, and almost all of them had significant improvements in lower blood sugar and less medication use. 86% of the patients who lost 15 kilograms actually stopped being diabetics. A meta-analysis looked at 27 studies, and they found in the end people who adhered to the low-calorie diet, which we'll talk about, 54% of patients reversed their diabetes after a few years, and it can stay away. This is possible. I believe in you guys. If you have struggled with this, don't let people tell you that you can't improve your health. Everybody can improve your health, no matter how bad it is. There's always some things you can do to make tomorrow better than today. And the best time to get started is right now. You can do it. Right now, everyone's excited about Ozempic. But guess what? This has actually been out for a long period of time now, and tens of thousands of people have got this. Has it reversed diabetes? When has drugs really been the answer? We go over all the real world results in detail below. Check out that video. Sugar and carbs can create an addiction due to their impact on dopamine in our brains. This is a substance similar to cocaine and heroin. Sugar, cocaine, and heroin stimulate the brain's reward pathway. So every time we eat sugar, we crave sugar even more. The brain's lower centers, or what's also known as our lizard brain, is associated with pleasure and survival, whereas our higher centers, which is our cerebral cortex, is associated with thinking and motivation and making smart decisions. So our cerebral cortex tells us, hey, we don't want to eat this sugar, but our lizard brain base functions tell us, hey, give me all that sugar. Exercises and fasting can increase brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, protecting the brain from degeneration caused by substances like sugar. BDNF is increased by omega-3 fatty acids, physical exercise, strength training, and HIIT training. It helps our higher memory. It helps our learning. It helps our self-control, resisting sugar more in the future. So the less sugar you eat and the more you exercise, the healthier overall you're going to be. It all just stacks on top of itself. One of the best things you can do is exercise and strength train. Exercise especially has a range of benefits beyond burning calories, affecting various aspects of health, and in fact helping our body crave less sugar. The healthier we get, the more we exercise. Cutting sugar stabilizes our blood, our pre-diabetes, reduces our cravings. So the less sugar you eat, the less you crave them, and this is proven. It allows our body to then access fat for energy. If we're getting enough sugar, we don't use up any of our fat. But if we're not eating sugar, we access that fat and we get trim, we get healthy. That's how you get your six-pack. That's how you look good. That's how 50% of the country is not obese anymore. These are the best tips to stop cravings. Number one, protein and fiber intake. If you take protein, it signals to your brain that you're full. We're going to talk about high protein foods, and we're also going to focus on fiber intake. That doesn't mean you have to eat stuff like cereal or grains. Even a fiber supplement where one scoop or one spoon can do it for you. You're going to feel full. It's going to help you be more regular and go to the bathroom, and you're going to reduce your sugar cravings. Number two way to stop cravings is to get proper sleep. Those who slept less than 6 hours actually have blood sugar that's higher the next day, no matter what else they do, even if they don't eat sugary foods, and they crave it more. That is proven over and over in studies. So make sure you get enough sleep. That's the bedrock of preventing cravings. If you don't get at least 6 hours of sleep, it may be impossible to resist your cravings. And number three is hydration. Sometimes thirst can be mistaken for your brain's hunger. Drinking plenty of water helps stretch your stomach, helps make you full. And if you're craving something sweet, chug a bottle of water and see if that makes your cravings go away. I know I do this through the first half of the day with coffee as well, or fizzy water can be a great option. I love fizzy water, especially the non-sugared kind, like a Soda Stream. Artificial sweeteners taste great, but they're not the answer. Even though they're low calorie, they can stimulate your brain to be even more hungry, and it can make you crazy, especially late at night, and make you gorge on other food. It's almost like a chain reaction. I know this happens to me. Eliminating sugar can change taste perceptions, making real food taste better and reducing cravings for sugary type foods. After 30 days without sugar, you will definitely see improvements in your blood sugar levels, your cravings, your hemoglobin A1C, which is your average blood sugar rate. And this is something I see a lot with my diabetes. That sugar actually binds to your tendons, your ligaments, your arteries, and damages it. So we measure the actual glycosylation reaction. It lowers our triglycerides, our cholesterol, and more. In fact, there's a new groundbreaking study, and I'm going to do a whole video about this, but the number one thing linked to your body's cholesterol now is your body mass index and your build. It's not how much cholesterol you eat in the diet. So they actually showed that people that eat eggs, for example, but are thin, have better cholesterol on average than someone who doesn't eat eggs and is overweight in the first place. Cutting sugar out definitely reduces type 2 diabetes, fatty liver, heart disease, stroke, dementia, and improved immune function, lower metabolic syndrome, less insulin resistance, and it makes us get the flu less. It works so well. I'm gonna go over my top 15 foods to quit sugar in 30 days. So my wife is a dietitian and I see patients all the time for peripheral neuropathy, diabetes, everything I mentioned. So this really hits close to home to me. I make sure to talk about all this stuff with patients because the future of medicine is preventing these problems, not reacting. If the healthcare system is to have a chance, it has to get ahead of stuff, not react to it. So this is my top 15 list. Tell me if it sucks. Tell me if it's good. Tell me if I'm missing anything amazing that I should add to my diet. Number 15, blue spirulina. This is the least practical due to its strong taste, and it's a powder. It's not going to make the bulk of your meal. It's something you can add. It's high in protein, high in B vitamins, copper, and iron. It has almost no sugar. It's more of a supplement, and you can add it to smoothies. Vegans use this thing. That's why I included it. I want to be fair to carnivore and vegan at the same time. I personally like to add protein powder as well every day. I do like 30 to 60 grams of protein isolate. And in fact, that's going to be my secret one, protein isolate. I'll talk about that at the end. Number 14, chia seeds. Chia seeds are amazing. They are sugar-free. They're rich in omega-3 fatty acids. I love omega-3 fatty acids. Great in fiber, high in protein, no added sugar. You can add it to puddings, smoothies. I make a shake for my kids every day. I add this kind of stuff for them. They love it. A lot of these foods contain omega-3 fatty acids. You could supplement these, but a lot of these foods that I'm going to talk about provide it. Now, the beauty is this raises BDNF. It makes you more disciplined, makes your brain work better, and makes you resist sugar even more. And this helps with muscle strength, arteries, your heart. Number 13, flax seeds. Flax seeds are very practical, similar to chia seeds, but with a nuttier flavor, high in omega-3 fatty acids, fiber, protein. They are devoid of sugar. You can add them to all your foods. So if you're eating cereals, yogurts, baked goods, so a great combo, I'll talk about like Greek yogurt with this makes a phenomenal meal. Number 12, tempeh. This was included for vegans and vegetarians, but it's moderately practical. I don't really eat a ton of tempeh, but I included it on here because it's very popular. It's high in protein, prebiotics, vitamins, and minerals, and it's low in sugar. It's a great option as a meat substitute. Quinoa, number 11. It's fairly practical and versatile. Here's how we use it at our family. Instead of like loading up with noodles or like white pastas, you can add quinoa. This is high in protein, fiber, B vitamins, minerals. It's low in sugar. Using it as a substitute for rice and pasta. One thing that you guys should check out, if you go to like Aldi, for example, the grocery store, they do a lot of replacement pastas, noodles, that kind of thing, made from like bean or made from like lentils. This is crazy. Rather than sugar, it's like got a ton of protein in it, but it is a little bit more expensive, you know, but I think it's worth it when it's available. It's more of a specialty item. If I can get you, the viewers, buying more of this specialty stuff that we eat, because it's delicious, the price will probably come down. Number 10, Greek yogurt. Very practical, Lots of diverse uses. This is a staple for me and my kids. My kids love eating yogurt. You know, for the kids, I got to add a little bit of the flavoring to it, but it has protein, calcium, probiotics, usually low in sugar, unless you add a lot of the flavoring. We add a little bit, maybe some honey, for example. Otherwise, they won't eat it. It's great for breakfast foods, snacks. I buy reusable pouches, and my toddlers, they eat it while they're hanging out at night. Otherwise, they wake up in the middle of the night. If you're a parent, tell me if that trick works for you. I love the reusable pouches, and I put Greek yogurt in it. Number 9, almonds. Highly practical, very versatile. It's healthy fats, proteins, vitamin E, magnesium, very low sugar. That's actually my number 1 nut. I did a countdown of the top 9 nuts and the 3 to avoid. Almonds are number 1. It's great for diabetes. You just got to be careful. If you bring a whole bag in front of the TV while you're watching Netflix, I was eating some almonds. You probably eat too much at that point. Since my wife's in the end stages of pregnancy, I'm allowed to do that to support her. Number 8, avocado. This is unbelievable. This should probably be higher on the list, but there's some other good ones. Highly practical, highly popular. Depending on the grocery store, you can get them for pretty cheap. This has healthy fats. It's got fiber. I put it in smoothies. This is amazing. It has potassium, which works great on your blood pressure if you have high blood pressure. Ton of vitamins, low sugar. It does have some carbs, but most of those carbs are fiber that actually just clean you out. It's great in salads, sandwiches, guacamole. I make dips with it, and I can dip stuff in it. It fills you up more than the chips. Number 7, broccoli. I love broccoli. This is something that you can add as a base. So rather than quinoa or even pasta, like if I'm making meat or something, I'll actually just steam a ton of broccoli and you put it on top, and that's kind of like your base. It's very practical, very widely used, high in fiber, vitamin C, K, iron, potassium, almost absent in any type of real sugar. It's steamed, roasted. You can add it to stir fries, any type of dinner or lunch, you can add it as the base. And on that note, cauliflower. This is crazy, but a plant biologist told me recently, cauliflower did not exist about 120 years ago. Somebody actually mated broccoli with like a white flour, and it created cauliflower. So it's very practical, very versatile. The nutrition is vitamin C, K, B6, fiber. It's very low in sugar. It's used as a rice substitute. You can add it as a base for stir fries, for foods. Very practical. Number 5, spinach. I used to wrestle in high school and college. I actually wrestled against an Olympic gold medalist. You know, that's why I kept getting knocked out. Spinach, what I would do when I had to cut weight, I would grab handfuls of spinach and stuff it in my mouth, and it would make me full, and I would not want to eat dinner. It's hard to resist a snack for me, but it's easy to pre-stuff yourself with spinach. It's extremely practical, versatile, ton of vitamins, A, C, K, iron, calcium, low sugar. It's great for salads, cooked dishes. You can add it as a base when you put meats or other fillers on there. Number 4, bell peppers. These are unbelievable. You wouldn't think that this would be a major one, but they're just so loaded with vitamin C, antioxidants. There's actually more vitamin C in a red and orange bell pepper than in oranges. Crazy. It's used as a raw snack, cooked in dishes. You can add it to everything, breakfast foods, any type of meal. You can put it on pizzas. Number 3, kale. This is very practical, very popular. I personally don't like kale, but a ton of people eat it. I know a ton of people where it's a regular staple for them, loaded with vitamins A, C, K, calcium, antioxidants, low sugar. It's great. Just like spinach, if you eat kale, you won't want to eat anything else. You'll have lost your appetite. Kale can essentially be a cheat code. You can stuff this in your mouth ahead of time, and the fiber and the bulk of it essentially makes you full. Now, there's some complaints about like oxalates and things like that. I have a video that goes in depth for that. You only really have to worry if you have kidney stones for most people. And I go into the studies on that. Be careful of vitamin K and blood thinners as well. There's a ton of vitamin K in kale. Number 2, carnivore diet. The chicken breasts, the beef, the pork. This is highly practical and widely consumed. Inevitably, in these videos, the plant-based diet and the carnivore diet usually get in a fight in the comments. Some of them attack me, but that's not the goal here. We can all get along and we can work together. We have to look at the science and see what's healthy and what's not healthy, and not for political reasons. There's a lot of debates about the ethics, about the politics, but it usually comes down to that. And there's too many variables, but think about it like this. India has a very high percentage of vegans and vegetarians, and they have some of the highest heart attack and vascular risks. Now, I know there's other factors, but on the other hand, Hong Kong, they statistically eat the most meat out of everybody, and they have the longest lifespan in the world. There's more details to that for sure. It could be argued, but studies are overwhelmingly showing that meat is healthier and healthier for you. One thing that I really want to touch on is Dr. Shawn Baker and the Carnivore Diet. He wrote the Carnivore Diet book, and this guy eats nothing but meat and eggs. He eats like 10, 12 eggs every single day, and look at how great of a shape he's in. He has numerous world records in cardiovascular events like rowing, and what happens is countries like Hong Kong that eat more meat than anybody else are actually number one in the world in terms of lifespan. Now, I'm not saying that's the only factor, but you have to look at India, for example, which admittedly is a poorer country on average, but they have a much higher percentage of vegetable eating, and they have an extremely high level of cardiovascular issues. If you look at the countries, and Google this right now if you don't believe me, but the countries that eat the most meat generally have the longest lifespans in the world. Something very interesting to consider. I came from a communist country, and my grandparents were telling me a story that when the government took over and basically restricted food rations, they promoted that meat was not actually good for you. I remember my grandma telling me the soldiers kept eating nothing but meat while telling the people that. Something to think about. Tell me in the comments, yay or nay on that. A very high level meta-analysis recently showed that saturated fats from meats did not actually raise LDL cholesterol. And I'll do a full video on that. What really determined it is if you're obese in the first place, your LDL is going to be higher. But thin people who ate meat did not have higher LDL on average. Everybody's a little bit different. But something to think about. Meats are high in protein, low in fat, no sugar. Very versatile, very filling. And number one, boom, 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 boom. This is my number one. Eggs. Extremely practical. It was high cost for a little bit, but the cost has since come down, at least in my area. I buy organic eggs from a farmer down the road. It's a lot cheaper. Those are shown to be higher in omega-3s and a lot of other benefits. Extremely practical. They're a dietary staple. High in protein, high in B vitamins. The yolk is good. The egg whites are good. So the big secret is this. There is no clear consensus that eggs raise your cholesterol. Historically, because there's cholesterol in the egg yolk, people thought you'd have high cholesterol in the blood. That's kind of been disproven. And when you cancel out the cholesterol, you have to look at all the vitamins, your B vitamins, your omega-3 fatty acids, your vitamin K2. This is one of the best and most practical sources of vitamin K2, and this can be something that's very heart healthy and artery healthy. Look at all these vitamins. A cardiologist once strongly told me this is the single most reliable and proven multivitamin. When you take the store-bought vitamins, you don't know what's in there, but with an egg, you know what's in there. So it might be the opposite. The egg might actually even be heart healthy. And eggs are only about 70 calories each. At nighttime, when I get a sugar craving, I will just eat a couple hard-boiled eggs. I always feel full, guaranteed, for about 140 calories. That's less than like one cookie in most cases. That is my secret cheat code that I use personally. Studies are very successful in reversing type 2 diabetes in the vast majority of people who take their diet seriously. Exercise, eat a lot of protein, avoid a lot of processed foods, get good sleep, at least 7 hours if possible. Cardio, strength training, and strength training is pretty much the number one in almost all studies. It's the most reliable thing. Don't put all your hope in weight loss medications. The results are not as good as being claimed. And at the same time, when have drugs ever been the long-term answer for anything? But that's my top 15 list. I gotta ask you guys a favor. You viewers are so amazing, and I'm so humbled every day. I know I'm going to get some thumbs down from some vegans for including carnivore foods at the top, and I get it. I am completely open to it. If you can show me some studies, I will make videos counteracting this, to be fair. But tell me what works. What's a good thing that you use? What don't you use? I love hearing your feedback, and I want to know what you guys use. It means so much to me, and I'm so thankful for you as an audience. Thank you. Make sure to share this with your friends, and good luck in cutting down on sugar.